You're listening to the 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions Limited, exclusively on the 5 Stars website. Subscribe today for content from your favourite Ibrox heroes. Well, welcome to the 5 Star podcast. As ever, we have Rangers royalty with us as we chat all things red, white and blue. It's only Ian Durrant and Barry Ferguson. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Great to have your company, guys. So much to get through in such a short period of time. Yes, we're not firing in all cylinders on the park, but let's take a look back to St Mirren at the weekend. We were a bit stretched resource-wise. I think we saw how much we missed Cyril Dessers as a focal point to the attack, and De Giga at the heart of the defence, another one with a big presence. The way the game sort of panned out, it took a terrific equalising goal from one from the academy, Finlay Curtis. So, A, how badly were resources stretched getting into the game at Paisley, and B, has Finlay Curtis now done enough to force himself into a potential run as a starter? Ian?
I'd like to think so. I think along with Tab, when he made the substitution, they had a really positive impact, and a young Finlay again just hits it. Now it takes a wee deflection, but now up until then we hadn't had a shot and goal. So young Finlay, and I think now when you're that age, now you go and try things, and certainly now the manager will be thinking about him in Bruge, not 100%.
You've seen him up close and personal, Barry, more than perhaps most. How mature is Finlay Curtis?
Very mature for 18. One thing I will say, brilliant attitude, Tommy. He wants to learn. He was one of the boys that kept asking, what can I improve in my game? He would stay out after training and work on crossing, finishing, all the sort of things you would want him to do. So yep, I thought he came on and made a massive impact, and I think since he's broke into the team, certainly this season, he's always made a difference. He scored a few goals, and he's one that can certainly start tomorrow night against Bruge. And as Durrant said there, I thought Tav come on and he was a real driving force at the back, was positive in everything he done. He was looking to pass the ball forward at every opportunity. So yep, It was a disappointing day. Let's be honest. Drop my point. It's always a difficult place to go. I know you mentioned the two players. You're always going to miss players of that stature, but we should still have enough in the squad, Tom, to go there and try and at least get the 3 points.
Looking for positives, one would be the fact that Jack Butland had very little to do until the last minute of the game. A big save from a header from Gogic. So if we score more goals, that there is a bit of belief that defensively, Barry, that we can get results.
Yep, and as you mentioned, Cyril, I know he's always up for debate. Everybody's, some people love him, some people don't really rate him. Look, I work closely with him, and I can't say a bad thing about him.
29 goals last season.
Yep, he's a big character. He's a workhorse. Look, he'll miss opportunities, but he'll take opportunities as well. So he was a big miss because he has a real focal point. But yeah, we need to be more ruthless in the final third, definitely.
Ian, there was 8 new faces in the starting 11 at Paisley. I think last week we touched on in chat that time is a commodity you don't get at Rangers, and these youngsters, like the two full-backs, Aaron's on the right and McHoma on the left, they're going to have to grow up very quickly.
Of course they are. There's no hiding place at Ibrox, none at all, and especially not the greatest of starts, especially when you go to St Mirren. You know you need to get that first goal, then you can steady the ship a bit. When you're chasing your tail, they scored a very good goal, I mean, then we're up against it. We had a couple of wee half chances at Ashgard, and I think we Cameron could have maybe a sneak one, but then it just shows you the last 20 minutes. I think the manager will take a lot of positive for the last 20 minutes because we're on the front foot, created a lot of chances, a lot of corners, and for a great save from obviously I don't know if Danilo meant it or what, but the keeper and then you come away with not really playing at your best, but you might have sneaked a 2-1 victory. But there will be a lot of positive for the last 20 minutes.
The two previous league games, at Dundee, at Ibrox, Motherwell away, and now St Mirren, is confidence kind of fragile?
Of course it is, because I know when you can, without being disrespectful to the teams we're playing, if you're looking at your first 3 opening games in the league, you'd fancy your chances to get 9 points. Now, being a Rangers player, I would, and so they'll be disappointed in that fact. But the longer it goes without the win, the more pressure it's heaped on. Now, everybody in the club, not just the manager, but the board of directors as well, they'll be looking to see now why we can't get a win. And you know that the fans here now, if you're not doing it now, they'll let you know.
How do you turn that round when it's a confidence issue, Barry?
Well, it is fragile. You can certainly see it. There's some of the players that are affected. It's one of the ones, Tom, where you just want to just grind a result out. You don't need to play well. You know what you were going into on Sunday. Look, I've been there myself. They're a big physical, well-drilled unit, St Mirren, so you need to stand up to them. And I thought we didn't do that in the first half. It was certainly better in the second half, and it just takes one of their performances where you just need to grind it out. No play well. Take a scruffy 1-0, exactly. It comes off somebody's backside, and then that starts to build a bit of momentum.
Let's hope that's sooner rather than later. We have to touch on Hamza Gaman and the fallout at full time when the manager sort of confirmed that he wouldn't go on at the hour mark when he wanted him to perhaps be a game changer for him then. My understanding is that he did pick up a knock in his warm-up, and you've experienced that too before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've played in teams when guys have went out to do the warm-up during the game and suffered a strain or whatever. So look, we don't really know the story. Look, if Hamza's telling the manager that he's picked up an injury, or he said to the physio, well, you've got to take his word for that.
Yep.
I would be disappointed if that wasn't the case, let's be honest, because you want all the players there to go and help your teammates, and certainly we could have done with Hamza, because he is a game changer.
Yeah.
Certainly, and the manager had mentioned that he wanted to get 2 forwards on, and Hamza was one of the choices. So we just need to wait and see when it clears up. If he's got an injury, there's nothing you can do about that. But if he's no want to come on, then I'll be honest with you, I'd be very disappointed in that.
From a coaching perspective, Ian, surely the manager has to go or instruct one of his assistants, get the physios involved here, get me a report.
Yeah, but prior to him coming on, when I was watching the game, Tom, he was out warming up. Yep. So obviously if he's done something in that period of warming up behind the goal, then we don't know. As Barry said, touched on it, we'll not know until we get the full story. But it certainly looks the way it was coming out. I think Leila put an improved offer in, so I don't know if we'll be seeing Hamza about the building much.
Hopefully.
And what you want is people that are 100% committed.
Yeah,
Tom.
Of course, especially just now.
He is an asset, but it might be the working capital required to move him on to reshape the squad, particularly at the top of the pitch.
Yep, and he's got a value. Look, Rangers took a chance on him.
Yep.
From the Moroccan team, he came in, like, he's a work in progress, but he's definitely a game changer. He's got great ability, and Rangers have done a lot of work with him over the last 12 months, so he's got to be respectful of that as well. So it looks to me if he's going to be in the road out, but Rangers obviously have got a price on his head, and they'll expect a decent sum of money so they can reinvest that back into the squad.
And it's down to the manager. I mean, resources were stretched as we started the conversation today, and I think he would like to bring in an experienced 20-goal a season striker, but they're not easy to find, Ian.
Of course not. We'd love that, but he's got 6 days, and now you're looking at you're away in Bruge, so your focus is on obviously trying to qualify for the Champions League. Now you've got the biggie on Sunday, so the recruitment part will be now. They'll need to be spot on in the next 5 days. And I know they'll be doing their work, they'll be doing their due diligence in terms of trying to get players in if they can. But it would certainly help if there is money available for the manager, because he needs, not just up front, I think he needs experience, a wee bit of experience at the back to cope with the workload that's now, the heavy load of games that are going to come up.
You're listening to the podcast of 5 Stars, everything red, white and blue. Ian Durrant and Barry Ferguson, great to have your company today, and great to have you join us on the podcast as we chat all the current issues involving Rangers Football Club. You mentioned Bruges. Well, last week it was probably the biggest disaster of a start to a game we've experienced in many years, Barry.
Yeah, and you can't allow a team a start like that, because let's be honest, they're a very good team, Bruges. We mentioned that last week. Bad mistake, just got to deal with it as a defender, get it in Rose head and get back into your shape. But that gave them confidence. You could see them growing. They knocked the ball about well. They took a 3-0 lead, and that was a sore one to take. Look, again, there was a reaction in the second half, but you want that reaction for minute 1. And it's going to be a tough one. Look, I hope we just go over here and we're rock solid. We have to get the first 15-20 minutes, try and quieten their crowd down a wee bit. They're a very strong home team. They'll come at us, no doubt about that. We just need to be solid and compact, and if we're like that the first 15-20 minutes of the game, then you never know what could happen. They could start to get frustrated a wee bit. Their fans might get on their back, And then, look, I've seen stranger things happen in football.
Absolutely. It certainly would be pretty unique for Rangers to turn it round with such a deficit away from home in our 69 years playing in European football. It would be pretty much record breaking. But Ian, without expectation, and perhaps the pressure is off a wee bit, can players go and express themselves there then?
I hate the saying, but they're getting a free hit obviously with the first leg, as Barry touched on. Disappointing goals. I mean, you lose goals like that, you're always going to be chasing your tail no matter what, who you give goals with. But in the Champions League, they'll kill you. And but the positive has just got to go. Get that first goal if they can. Be, Barry says, rock solid, defend. And they're going to have to defend because he's spot on. They'll come at us, they'll try and finish the tie off. And they've got a great European home record, but records are there to be broken.
Yep.
And if he gets the right, and they apply themselves, I can see them getting the result. But if they go on and defend, if they defend like the first leg, then they've no chance. That was like schoolboy. But they've just got to go positive, take the game to Bruge and see what happens. You never know. As he showed in the second half, when they got close to him, unfortunately they nearly got the second goal. But it was, it might have, you could have got it. Might now obviously we never got it. But again, we should be composing problems. So they've got to go there and stand up. Big European tie again, a tie, as I said, they should be looking forward to.
It's quite a sizable stadium, crowd of around 25 to 27,000 expected. It's a stadium they share with Cercle Bruges, but how vital is the first goal?
Very vital. We were doing the game last week, and Thomas Buffel was over,
yeah,
and he was basically saying that they're really, really, really strong at home, so it's going to be doubly hard. But you never know, as I say, if we get that wee first goal, then we pose them a problem. Then they've then got to open up, they've got to come out, and then Rangers might exploit them. But come Wednesday, the manager needs his best 11 out. Now, strong characters, that's the word, character. They're going to have to show a bit of character over in Bruges.
We've certainly got the players with the creativity to go and get the goals that matter. What do you expect the manager, how do you expect him to set his stall out for this one?
Well, he's got a certain way of playing, but I just think if you open up against them, certainly the first part of the game, I think you'd be playing into their hands. I just think you've got to go and try and frustrate. I mean, I've been in plenty of European games before away from home, so is Durrant, and that was always a message, is make sure you get through the first period of the game unscathed, and then you never know, tension might build for the stands, that might start to affect your opponents, and then you can start to get a grip on the game. We've definitely got players in the forward areas that can hurt them. Gassama, pace, Antman, pace. Hopefully Big Cyril, he's a real presence up top. Hopefully he's going to be available. We're not sure yet.
He'd love to do it in home turf too, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. We'd love to do it there. So we have got the players, if we sit back and hit them on the counter, we've definitely got the pace to hurt them. So it'll be interesting to see what way the manager he approaches the game.
Ian, we might need to just give consideration to the financial situation here, where, you know, the Champions League, the money available to the club is massive. Are we ready for the Europa League, perhaps? You know, looking at resource by comparison, we would love the big money, but the worst case scenario, we will still have a European campaign ahead.
That's what, well, on the flip side now, it'd be great now, the Champions League, but we have got the comeback again, the Europa Cup. In the last few years, we've had great runs in that. I was just thinking about now, when you're 3-1 down in Bruges, maybe think that the tie's over. So that, again, that'll give you another wee chance. But now financially, you all want to be in with the big boys. Are we ready? We're probably not. I don't think so. But you wouldn't knock it back anyway, because like everybody, and we touched on it last week, you want to play against the best teams. You want to get the challenges. But if we get there, it'll be a lot of hard work and a lot of determination. But we've also got something we fall back on, the Europa Cup.
I think, Barry, people perhaps underestimate the amount of money that Bruges spent refreshing their squad.
Do you know what? I was looking at that, Tom, last week. 40 million quid they spent during the summer. They lost a couple of players. Obviously, they get big money because it's an attractive club to play and they always produce good players. But they spent 40 million quid.
Plus, I think getting a work ticket, you know, a permit in Belgium is pretty much more easy to access than perhaps in the UK.
So you've got to remember the fact is that they've spent big money and they have got good players. Look, I remember them last year. I think they got to the last 16 of the Champions League. So they're no mugs. They've got real good players, but it's like any good player. If you go up against them and don't give them time in the ball, they don't like that, and that's what we've done. Durrant mentioned that's what we've done in the second half, and you could see they didn't like that. So that's the way we've got to approach the game on Wednesday.
A controlled press, is that the key?
Play with the Rangers. You always think you're a good player. That's why you're here. That's why you're playing in front of 50,000 a week. But they'll have to do it in the right areas. Barry touched on it. Now, you can't go gung ho because they'll open us up. So we've just got to play the game. And the only thing we've got enough experience to get through this. Now we'll need Jack Butler. We'll need the suitors. You know, if Tav plays now, the experienced boys they'll cope, because if you are going to play you Finlay Curtis, you've got to get hold of them and make sure that we're game ready. But listen, we've been there, myself and Bad, we've been there, we were down in games, and it's a great now. See if you get that first goal, the confidence it gives you.
Yeah, real shot. Yeah,
it's a good point, Durrant, to make. You've got 6 players there that have got the experience. You've got Big Jack, you've got Tav, you've got Big Suter, you've got Dio and Nico, who had a lot of experience last year, and plus Big Cyril up top. So they'll be key.
Skeletons there, basically.
Yeah, but as you've got 6 players there that have experienced big European nights away from home and produced brilliant results, and that's what you'll need to carry the other ones who maybe have not been used to playing in Europe.
We'll bring you a review of the Bruges game next week in the 5-Star podcast. We have some questions from fans, which 5 Stars have conducted in and around Ibrox this week. Some really interesting questions. One to you, Barry, was about the international players in the squad, Scottish international players in the squad. Are we losing that wee bit of identity?
Yeah, I would like to see more homegrown Scottish players. No doubt our academy, we need to start producing more young players. We produce Finlay Curtis and Bailey Rice at this moment in time. But if you look round about other clubs, I certainly think there's players that are more than capable of playing at Rangers. So that's something that I would like to see in the future.
Lyle Cameron, came from Dundee, could well be recognised internationally at the moment in the Scotland squad. Ian, we've only got Liam Kelly, who's not our first pick, and Durrant Suter. Yeah, it's not quite Rangers-like, is it?
No, far from it. Spot on, Barry. You want to see as many. You want to see the homegrown players now that have the identity with the club. So you want to see more of them, and we have to make sure, if there is good Scottish players about, then make sure you're at the front of the queue trying to get them, because there is good Scottish players that are willing to play for Rangers, but at the present moment they're getting overlooked.
Right, I sometimes think there's an ignorance towards the others.
Yeah,
other teams. Yeah, but look, certainly I've seen enough of a number of players that could certainly do a job for Rangers.
Look out for the roving microphones from 5 Stars in and around Ibrox. Take your questions to these legends next time round. A bit off-piste for the moment, guys. I caught on social media a picture of James Tavernier in a chip shop, and the fans were absolutely apoplectic of the fact that the skipper was having a fish supper. Well, we don't know if it was for him, it could have been for the family, but post-match, what was your favourite post-match dinner, Ian?
Oh, I liked a wee curry or a single chicken, but I think I've seen that bit on social media. I think they were disappointed because he never did any Jimmy Nichols with his chips. Listen, sometimes you get a bit, it gets a bit outrageous, but the boy's there, he could have maybe picked up a supper up for his missus or something.
Yeah, and a can of iron brew.
Listen, I love a chippy. I'll not kid you on. After games, I like a sausage supper, 4 pickles and a rolling fritter.
Can't beat the Jimmy Nichols.
Yep, but listen, you're allowed to have a bit of, listen, you eat right all week, you prepare, but after the game, there's nothing.
You burn it off before the next
you've got to let yourself go at some stage.
Go enjoy yourself.
What did you have?
Sausage supper, 4 pickles and a rolling fritter. And a bottle of red cola, Curry's red cola.
That's it. Now you're talking. Red cola limeade. Oh, but it's a Jimmy Nichols.
Limeade, right enough, but I like the red cola.
Jimmy Nichols for me. You can't beat the Jimmy Nichols.
Personally, I'd have a blue balls any day of the week. Anyway, leaving that, good luck, Tavin. We hope you enjoyed your fish tea, if it was for you or not for the wife or some of the kids. Let's look a wee bit further ahead. Old Firm, first of the season, next Sunday, another early kick-off. Is it fair to say, both guys, Ian first, form book goes out the window in an Old Firm fixture?
Exactly. Doesn't count for nothing, no matter how well you're playing or how bad you're playing. These are totally different games. And on the plus side, we're getting a home game, so hopefully this place will be bouncing. Me and Barry will be doing the fan zone to get the place going before the start of the game. And
get Big Marvin to sing.
Oh, Big Marvin, he will be singing. But as I said, the form counts for nothing. You can be playing out your skin, you can play in the best football you want, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be another tough game after now, obviously the tough European. But one, you want to relish, and then the manager will be looking forward to being his first Old Firm game as a manager. and he'll want to make sure he gets everything right.
Hopefully I'm singing after again, that's for
We'll all be
sure.
son. I'll make sure you're
On the red cola and giving it large.
Yeah.
Fair shout. Is it who handles the pressure best when that first whistle blows, Barry?
As I agree with Durrant, look, we've been involved in so many, and look, doesn't matter about form. It's individually who you come up against. You want to get the better of them, and collectively as a team, you need everybody on it. You can't have any passengers.
Yeah,
you can't. And that'll be the case on Sunday. We're at home. We're at Ibrox. Durrant just mentioned there, the place will be absolute electric. The fans will be right behind them. These are the games you want to be involved in as a player and as a coach or as a manager. Nothing beats them.
Celtic will have fans in the stadium for the first time in such a long time.
Good.
Is that a good thing, you believe?
Doesn't bother me. We'll have more fans in, and it's about how we approach the game. We need to take the game to them. Don't give them any space. Don't let them relax into the game. Be in the front foot for the word go, and if that's the case, then we should get a positive result.
Ian?
Yeah, I don't mind the fans at all. No, they come, it's football banter, and how long may it continue? But as I said, we'll have 40,000 here. Now, getting behind the boy or the team and making sure we're getting that result. Because it's another game, but now we'll have to win.
Celtic themselves playing in Europe have a huge travel to come back ahead of that game on Sunday. Will that have any impact, perhaps?
I think the way they recover after the games now, it could. It depends on what sort of tempo Rangers play when it comes Sunday. They've got to make sure it's high tempo, and if Celtic are feeling the effects, they've got to make sure they're going to be hurting them. But again, the way they recover after games now, Barry will tell you, the recovery session they do help the players benefit, and I think now they'll have the best of flight coming back, and that's what I think. It's 7,000 miles.
Yeah, they'll not get a sushi supper in Azerbaijan.
I think you'll get one in
It was
Kazakhstan,
right on Kazakhstan, yeah. Celtic aren't quite firing in all cylinders either at the moment, Barry, so is this one coming at a good time?
No, they're not firing, but they're winning games. I've seen them play better. I think they're weaker than they were last season, if I'm being honest with you. They've lost a few players, but it's like any time's a good time to get Celtic, especially when you're at Ibrox. It's just a brilliant game to play in. As I said, this place will be absolute jumping, and as a football player, nothing beats it. You should be right up for this, because if you're not up for it, you shouldn't even be anywhere near the building.
You've both been involved in selecting a team to go into an Old Firm match. How do you go about it? Is it a look in the eyes? Are you ready?
It's a bit of everything. There's some things that I can't say on camera, which I was saying before it, but just as an example, we went to Celtic Park last year, and I look back in the previous 6 or 7 games, and we just played right into Celtic's hands. Just gave them time on the ball, and if you give a good team or a good player time on the ball, they're going to hurt you.
This is through analysis.
We went back and watched the previous, because it was 5 years before it, and just every game it was just like sitting off them and just letting them dictate the game. So I wasn't having any of that. And there was the staff, so we put a plan together, and the players bought right into it, and I just felt they looked comfortable in it. They hit a brick wall 60 minutes. We obviously the game previous to that on the Thursday night with 120 minutes, but that's what you've got a bench for.
Yeah,
to bring fresh energy on.
And the man did.
And we did. Certainly the guys that come off the bench made a difference, and it gave us that wee bit of injection of energy, and thankfully we got the result. But I just wanted to go about it in a different manner than which previous teams had.
Ian, it's not a place for shrinking violets, and under Walter Smith, how would he encourage you and Alan McCoist as his right hand man to
it was simple.
prepare players?
Barry will tell you now, you don't want to have a couple of nightmares before the Celtic game, then you play yourself out the team. Now you want to be staying in the team, and then when you're getting that continuity in terms of now team selection, it does help you. Just now we're a wee bit fragmented in terms of he's changing about, but Barry touched on how good was that. Now he's managed a team and played in a team that's won at Parkhead. That doesn't come any better. And he done his homework. Now you need to do your homework in these games. Celtic will probably have a couple of new players in place, but I think, and we might have a couple of new players. You never know. So it's just to make sure now the game on Wednesday, make sure you don't play yourself out of the team, because these are the games you might play in.
Yeah.
Now this is where you're in your status as a Rangers player. Now you could if you in the back of defeat, you know how Barry will tell you how you feel. But if you now turn it be now the next superstar, now could Finlay Curtis be a next superstar if he
Go
does
and
now?
embrace
Well,
it.
Exactly. And make sure you've still got the opportunity to play in this game. Don't play yourself out the team. You want to be in that team sheet come Sunday.
And don't have any regrets. That's what I said to him. But we had
Enjoy
a
it.
great result there. But even here, when it was one each, that game we started well. Then Celtic had a bit of it, and I just felt we weren't as aggressive as we were at Parkhead. So you've got to be really aggressive in your
Controlled
play.
aggression.
Yeah.
Aye, controlled. Listen,
Yeah.
sometimes you go over the top a wee bit, but listen, that's just a bit of passion. That's what the fans buy into. They love that. And look, the fans just come and expect one thing, that you give it everything you've got. Sometimes you might not play well in these games, but just be prepared to run through a brick wall, and the fans will buy right into that.
I think that's the best advice you could give
No,
any of the players.
he had it in abundance, that boy. Aggression, passion, everything. And that's what's now, as I said, I think the manager will find out a lot come Sunday what he's got in the locker in terms of how they go about
Whichever
the game.
way the result goes.
Yeah, of course, but now we're sitting here, we're hoping everything's positive, and I'm sure it will be. But now he'll find out a lot about his players, how players can handle this environment in this game, because now these games are not for the faint-hearted. Now, if you go in there, as Barry said, embrace the game. It's easy for us to say, but you've got to enjoy it as it's a game.
Aye.
Now, I know it's frantic. Some of them are now they're poor to watch games, but you wouldn't swap them for anything. But you've just got to go there with the right frame of mind and make sure, if you are, enjoy it. Because now, enjoyed a few nights out after the Celtic games.
But he's right, Durrant, spot on. Embrace it.
Mm.
There's no better game.
How do you get that message to some of these youngsters up from England who perhaps,
like I'm
you
eyeballing.
guys are Rangers fans, brought up in the Rangers tradition, families of Rangers fans. These guys, it's just potentially a job to some of them. So the manager and the coaching staff have to get into their heads.
Well, what I say is, it's not just about the team, it's about the 45,000 Rangers fans that are going to be inside the stadium. It's about the hundreds of thousands that are going to be in the pubs watching the game. It's another few 100,000 back in their house watching the game. That's what you're playing for.
That must be Durrant's house, that 100,000. Still got a little share.
But that's what I used to think when I played, and then I passed that on to the team, and maybe some of them are looking at me if I was crazy, but it means a lot to so many people. So you go out there and you give it everything you've got, and if you do that, that support will get right behind you. Because do you know what? It's a bonus if you play well. It's all about how you approach it and how you get in about it. And if you do that, the Rangers fans will support you.
And that gap, as it stands, could be narrowed dramatically.
Of course, that's now what you're aiming for. Get up that league, then all of a sudden 3 draws. Now, if you beat Celtic, then it's not such a bad start after all. And but it's just getting winning games. We need to start winning games, and now come Wednesday, and the boys will know about the game. Tommy, see, as soon as 5 minutes after the Bruge game, they'll know there's a Celtic game on Sunday, because the phone will be going and everything, and they'll know
Demand
what's
for
all about.
tickets and the energy about
not
Glasgow.
the tickets, but they'll know about it. They'll know about who they're playing on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. It's a huge game coming up on Sunday, but one game at a time, as they say. But I would love to hear your own first experiences of an Old Firm fixture. Starting with Ian there, the first time you were given a starting jersey to get into an Old Firm fixture.
We're at Parkhead, and now it was a meaningless game. We're out the league reckoning, and it was 5 games to go. And Big Jock threw me in at Parkhead, and I didn't, because I played well on the Saturday, but I thought, now being at such a young age, I didn't think I was going to get the call up for the game on Saturday, and I got it. And
when did he tell you?
So it was about an hour before kick-off.
Wow, so that was to ensure you maybe were relaxed?
No, I was okay. I was fine at times now, because when you're young and you go into it, Tommy, you're no inhibition. You just, it's a game.
Yeah.
I know, obviously you know it, and I left the house and walked to Ibrox and got the bus. Yeah.
From Kenning Park?
Kenning Park, I walked up the back road, and I met a couple of my pals who taught me.
See some of the players, they should listen to that.
And,
they should listen to that. That's what it's all about.
My pal David Curry, and he taught me how to go about playing Celtic.
Great David Curry, yeah.
I would have loved to have heard what he said to you.
That was a team talk then.
So you've had your first team talk, probably your dad before you left the
I've had the first team talk outside the district bar, because I was giving him 2 tickets, right? And then he told us what to do. And I could just imagine David Curry having a team talk against Celtic, and that. Then we played, and by the way, they're 1-0 up. Ali Dawson.
David's thoughts come through your mind?
No, I was just enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Even though we were getting beat 1-0, right? There was 70,000 at the Parkhead. They go 1-0 up. Ali Dawson gets sent off. Then 10 minutes later, David Cooper gets sent off. Then we scored in the last 3 minutes. Super Ali.
Terrific.
And we get a draw and we're all running about. And see the last minute. He had a chance to square it to me, right? And he shot, right? And he goes, he was unlucky. I've got a tap in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll never forgive him. But
when was this? What year?
I was in 1984 at Parkhead.
Here we are.
Brilliant.
41 years later.
Down to 9
and he's still not having
honestly.
it. Costy.
It's brilliant. You walk up to Ibrox, drop into the district bar.
So I got a team talk after the boys in the pub, and then Big Jock gave me the second team talk. So I was high as a kite.
What was the bus journey like to across the city?
Brilliant. We had the follow now, and Big Jock had a couple of wee songs before the game just to get you up and going for it. And again, now as I say, when you're young, you just want to go and play. And then when he tells you now before the kick-off, you're come on, I think I was ready first. I had everything on.
Barry,
I'll be honest with you. See, my first 3 or 4 Old Firm games, they passed me by. Do you know why? Because I went in, I was just a fan. I was wanting to go out there and just run about mad.
Yeah. Using up energy.
Aye, and do you know what? I had to sit down and have a chat with myself, because you want to go and you want to try and dominate it, but the first 3 or 4 were just...
Is it that frantic?
It is, but you need to try and get a control of it. You need to get a grip of the game. And then once you obviously get a taste of 3 or 4 of them, then you start to understand, listen, it is a football game. It's no, I've got to remember I'm not on that stand, I'm on this pitch.
You very rarely remember anything about the game.
No, I know, it is. It's the quickest game ever.
90 minutes in a flash.
Yeah.
It is. It's mayhem at times, but it's about who gets a grip at it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And that team that gets a grip as quickly as possible tends to go on and win the game. But as I said, they're brilliant. That bus journey, when you're not... Ibrox was amazing, but when you're going on that bus journey to Parkhead, it's brilliant getting off the bus, getting absolute pelters. That's the best. But that just fires me right up.
Yeah. Just before I come back again about teammates in an Old Firm environment, I saw a picture on social media this week. You're playing for Kilmarnock in the blue and white vertical stripes with the red socks. You're playing for Rangers in the red top. I think you scored the week before against Alloa, your first Rangers goal, and the 2-year head-to-head in midfield at Rugby Park that day. Now he was your hero, and he was your protege.
No, see that picture.
Yeah,
that was the closest I got to him all day. By the way, swear to God, he gave me a doing.
Do you remember it?
He remembers it. You're right, he remembers it, because you've in my face at a kick-off, Barry. You're getting it there. It goes, all right, here we go.
It's one of the ones when you're growing up and you look at somebody that you want to be and you want to try and do what he done for the club.
Do you think he was going to let me away with anything?
No, but then you're trying to make your way as a professional, and then you're coming up against one of the best. But he was coming to the end of his career, so I thought, right, I'll have more legs than him at that stage. So
you certainly did, wee man. You certainly did, son.
Yes.
So
and you just got your first goal the week before.
I remember that one against, as you mentioned there, Alloa. And that's always plays in the back of your mind, trying to get that first goal for yours.
Get that monkey off your back, I think.
And then it's the same way the Old Firm games. First 3 or 4, just nowhere near, and then obviously you get that first goal. I never scored as many as Durrant. What is it, 6 or 7 you got?
7.
You forget that.
You scored I remember the day you scored that, the 1-2, and you scored at the Celtic end. What a goal that was!
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
So nothing beats that.
Motion.
Durrant will tell you, scoring against your fiercest rivals. That's something as a wee boy that you're sitting in the stand or you're playing down the park with your pals. That's what you want to do.
See me get the winner in the 1-0 victory. I was king of Cannon Park for about a week. Is
that the one you ran to the enclosure?
I always ran to the enclosure, because that's my brothers with season tickets. I don't, even if I scored at Celtic, I ran to the enclosure.
Alan, your brother Alan.
Yeah, they were all there.
Yeah, terrific. Right, here's the one. Old Firm game. We know the squad we've got just now. The transfer window hasn't yet closed. I'm going to give you an opportunity, a bit of fantasy football here, and that is drop 3 players. That would be terrific. That would be a real dream come true, and we would all be putting away some red cola that night.
The worst performance ever and winning 1-0.
Yeah.
Similar.
Oh, hi.
Winning mentality counts.
Oh, just win. That's the main thing. Nobody now. You forget the games. You remember the 3 points, and it's irrelevant if it's 1-0 against St Mirren or 1-0 against Celtic. It's still the same 3 points, but it just matters more against Celtic.
Euphoria, joy, and the way the fans then embrace it even more. I'm going to give you the opportunity, Ian and Barry, to drop 3 former teammates of yours, any era in your time at Rangers, straight in, assuming we're rolling back the years. I'm not wanting them put in there as a 52-year-old Richard Gough or whatever, but I want to know who you would drop in and why. 3 players and 3 players.
When you should say Gough, he probably thinks he can still play.
You probably could.
My 3 players.
Yeah.
I would go for Bomber, John Brown at the back.
Yeah.
I've like a Maverick. I've got my Gascoigne in the middle of the park. Now I've got Super Ali up front.
Yeah, I think that would improve matters dramatically, even if they are all 55 or more at the moment.
See, when you messaged me, I thought about it right through the spine.
Yeah.
So you want a defender, somebody who's rock solid and he's a dirty one.
Get your retaliation.
Yeah, I would have Big Craig Moore. He was.
Very
Aye,
underrated
he would have you in a minute. Aye, I would have him all day. In the middle of the pitch. This might surprise a lot of people, but I think we need somebody that could do everything. Could
fetch and carry.
Aye, could carry the ball, could score. No,
I can't believe
no,
that.
and
He's picked
do you know
himself.
what? He goes under the radar a wee bit. I would put Claude Arena in there.
Oh, lovely.
Great energy.
Brilliant energy, brilliant football player. Could get you a goal. Would get wired right in as well. Could play anywhere across the middle of the pitch. And then up top, you need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. And probably the one guy was Big Boydie, wasn't he?
Mm.
But he never played against Celtic. That was the
He
problem.
got 1 goal, I think, in his career against Celtic.
No, but you want somebody who's inside that box that can finish, and
Yeah,
he could
stay
certainly
between the
finish.
sticks.
Aye,
Yeah.
because like Mikey Moles was unbelievable, but Boydie was just an out-and-out goal scorer, wasn't
He was
he?
a machine.
I think we've actually just nominated another few Rangers fans that were players along the way. Cloud Arena might not have been a Rangers
No,
fan
listen, they
until he
bought
got
into
here.
it.
Right,
It's like Durrant's era in the 90s, they were all my heroes, obviously,
Yeah.
the 9 in a row team. Whether they came from England or came from a different country, they bought into it.
Yeah.
And that was the same with that Advocat team, late 90s, early 2000s, whether they were from Spain, Italy, America, like Claudio was, Holland, they bought into it. They know what the club meant.
The questions continue from the fans area there. As I say, look out for that roving mic from 5 Stars. 2 big questions, and we'll just one for each of the guys here, about teammates, and perhaps who was the moodiest for you, Ian, teammate in the dressing room, and perhaps who was the closest you got to by way of camaraderie, friendship in the dressing room.
Well, quite a few. I was close to quite a few of my ex-teammates. I'd probably say the best relationship I had was with Arthur Newman. When we brought him in for PSV, he ended up my
So that's
room.
why you moved to Hamilton.
Aye, to look after me, make sure I wasn't
You
sneaking
know, of
out.
course, he did the damage to that bad hip with the hard floors and the
Yeah,
Hamilton
but listen, he
Palace.
was a brilliant guy, brilliant professional, and
Yeah.
he was somebody that I obviously looked up to. Fantastic player as well.
Outstanding.
One of the best players that I've played with. So, yeah, in terms of relationship, as I said, with Arthur, if I had any issues, I would always go to him because obviously his experience, but also the fact that the level he had played at. So, yeah, had a good relationship, and he was also my neighbour.
Terrific. Ian, from your part, I know they used to talk about Davy Cooper being the moody blue, but you think that was just a wee bit of a disguise?
He just played on it. He loved it. He just didn't want to speak to the press, so he came across as this moody blue. Ian Ferguson loved him on.
Oh,
But
by the way, I heard from Fergie this week, his team that he's managing have won the league
Did
in
they?
Australia.
Aye.
He was absolutely over the moon. He sent me a wee message
came
on
a wee bell,
WhatsApp.
but he loved him on. But again, it was just off our show. He'd just moan about everything now, when we were training, what we were doing, everything. Thank God I only worked with
Some
him.
things never change.
I only worked with him for a couple of months. He used to give me Eric all the time about not getting a game and all that. He was only 14 at the time, right enough. And but a lot of it's just show, because at the end of the day, it's all just a bit of banter.
Is there a bit of nerves there before a game? That's how it manifests
No, he just
itself?
Fergie. This was Fergie all week, just moaning. But he used to go in the park and do the business. That was the way it was. But he just loved the moan about it. Now, no,
Is
not
it something in
tickets.
the name? Is there something in the name?
I think it
must
is. It's a
be.
Ferguson thing.
It
No,
must
Derek was not like that. Derek was he was chilled out, but he would just moan about now the food, just things. But that was just Fergie. So it just aye, all right, Fergie, did you? Just blank him.
Great questions from you, the fans, hosted here on the 5 Stars podcast. We look forward to your questions next time round. It's the 5 Stars podcast, talking all things Rangers with Ian Durrant and Barry Ferguson. You mentioned Gascoigne. How good was he?
Brilliant. along with him, he was frightening, young Baz there. But Gascoigne, I love Maverick players now. Bit of devilment in them.
Yep.
Now, as I said, Barry and Gascoigne, major now, bit of devilment, bit of madness. But just what a player. Creative, scored goals, could mix it. But just he would do things off the cuff. That's what I liked about him. Now he would do things you weren't expecting him to do, but he done it with such ease that now he could do it. And he just, as I said, I just liked Maverick, Gallus, Glasgow one. I loved Gallus players in the middle of the park, and Gascoigne certainly was one of them.
You mentioned John Brown too being brought into your defence. I recall him talking about the 5-1 victory against Celtic. Kevin Drinkle goal, that sensational goal 2 from Ray Wilkins. And Bomber talks about the team talk that day from Souness. Do you recall it?
Yeah, he pointed to Her Majesty on the wall and just said, listen, this is what this club's all about. And then he just said, now we know what the other team supports, so let's get on with it, and walked out. And then Walter named the team.
Wow. Pointing to the backdrop behind us, 5 stars, that's what this is all about, with a couple of Rangers legends. You've been in that sketch yourself, Barry. Can you share what your team talk was in the last Old Firm game? Or part of it?
Well, listen,
edited version, obviously.
It needs to be edited, let's be honest with you. But look, you made a good point earlier on. I looked at them in the eyes. I made a decision what team we were going to go with. But you've got to eyeball them and make sure they understand what this game means, because it was a long time that we had secured the victory against Celtic, just over 5 years. It was just basically, I spoke about the fans and what this means to the club. Yous are a bit different, obviously you've came from different countries, but myself, I had the 3 staff there. Griggsy.
Did they go round the players individually?
Yeah, we did, but this was when my team talk. This means a lot to us, and I wanted to mean that to you as well. But you think of the 2,500, because the fans were allowed back in at that game, and then just everybody who's going to be watching it all over the world, you're playing for them.
Who's going to carry the water pistol this week? Ian,
Oh, well, I don't know. There's several, but what Barry touched on there. See, when we were playing, Tom, if we did get beat, we felt as though we were letting everybody do it, not just our family. And see, now try to get that ingrained into players in terms of what it means, but they'll find out, and they'll know about it. But we felt as though we had, I wouldn't say the weight of the world on their shoulders, but we felt as though if we were getting beat, we were letting everybody down. That was the thing.
It's like people going to work, like bragging rights, like my old man. Everybody knew who he was when he was a roofer, like going on the building site, and then he had the bragging rights if we'd beat them. And then I would just think about everybody going to work on the Monday, bubbly, happy, because you've secured the victory against your rivals.
So it might be a free hit in Bruge in midweek. It's not that come Sunday when we entertain Celtic, the first Old Firm game of the season. I'm not one for asking you for predictions, but if you were given the opportunity for the last word as the players come down the tunnel, Ian, what would your message be to this current Rangers squad?
Don't have any regrets. Don't have any regrets. Give it your all. Leave everything on the pitch and get that victory.
Would you echo that, Barry?
He's took the words out my mouth. I'll need to come up with something different. Listen, that's
what
it.
you talked about embracing
Yeah,
the
you did.
challenge.
It was your own
you
words.
come in, and as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, listen, I gave it everything I had there, well, that's enough.
Big week ahead.
But make sure you come in with 3 points, or you're getting it.
Yeah, I suppose. Ultimately, that's the objective. But it's a huge week ahead for all at Rangers, and of course, we then head into the international break. Whatever happens, is that break perhaps coming at a good time to just let Russell Martin, the window closes, he knows the resource he's got, and he can then sort of focus on the next phase, Ian.
Of course, yeah. And again, sometimes a break's good for you. Other times when you're on a winning run, that you want to keep the run going. But I think the international break will be ideal for the whole club, just to take a wee step back, take a deep breath, and then let's look at things the way forward.
Barry?
Aye, because it's been a bit of a chaotic start, should I say. Well, obviously the qualifying games, a difficult start to the league. Just make sure you go out with 3 points, and then you can maybe tell the boys, go and spend a bit of time away, take a breather for 3 or 4 days, and then we get back into work and make sure we hit this next period with a bang.
The big period coming up round the corner. It all starts with the trip to Belgium, followed up with the Old Firm game. We'll review all these matches again with the legends that are Ian Durrant and Barry Ferguson. For the moment, thanks for joining us on the 5 Star Podcast.